So, you want to start an online business. Good, great. But the problem is, there are tons of different business models to try, and how do you know which one actually works well and which one you should stick with? Now, I feel like I'm in the perfect position to talk about this just because I was in your shoes once. 2014, I pretty much tried every single business model under the sun, freelancing, affiliate marketing, whatever I could find on the internet, and kind of just threw things at the wall to see what would stick, okay? And I basically have my own personal experience with each one of these business models, so I'm basically going to be ranking business models from the absolute worst, where it's basically wasting your time, to the best and highest possibility to scale it. Okay? I think that's going to be an interesting video. Now, of course, it's going to be all my opinion, and I'm going to be a little bit biased towards e-commerce and dropshipping because that is what worked for me. But nonetheless, I think you're still going to get a bunch of value out of this. Now, the first thing I want to start with is there's only two ways to make money online. The first way is selling your time, so offering some sort of service. The second way is selling a product. This could be an e-commerce physical product, it could be a digital product, it could be, affiliate marketing, whatever. It's just selling some sort of product that isn't like yourself as a service, okay? Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump on over to the computer. So, we have this little board right here, a bunch of business models, and I'm just going to go through each one completely raw and talk about, my thoughts on them. So, the first one I'm going to start with is Upwork. So, this is basically freelance work. Any type of freelance, I usually go for Upwork, or you can even talk about Fiverr too, that sort of stuff. I'm going to rank this. This is a little bit tricky because I tried Upwork, I tried Fiverr, I did 3D modeling and video editing services and stuff like that, and I was able to make, maybe $50, $60 here and there. Now, the problem though is I feel like Upwork and Fiverr is built mainly for people that are foreigners. So, people in Pakistan, Philippines, Africa, stuff like that. I think it's a great opportunity for you if you are from those countries. If you're in the US, the UK, Australia and stuff like that, it's a lot harder because you are competing with very, very low prices. People in Philippines and stuff can charge, $8 an hour, whereas someone in America would want to charge maybe $20, $30, $60 an hour. And it's just very hard to compete because people in the Philippines, people in, Africa, they can do even better than someone in the US, and they're charging less. So if you are international, okay, if you're in, some foreign country, I think Upwork and freelance would be a great opportunity for you, especially if you're in a country where it's a little bit more difficult to, make a consistent, good amount of money. I think Upwork is great. If you're from the US, UK, I think Upwork and freelancing is just, personally, I mean, there's people that are making millions of dollars with it. I think it's a waste of time. So, I'm just going to put this, I would say it's A tier if it is international, C tier if you're in America. I'm going to put it at B tier, just right in the middle. So, Upwork, B tier, okay? Next up, we're going to do affiliate marketing, okay? So affiliate marketing, basically you are selling someone else's service, course, product, whatever it may be. For this scenario, I'm not going to talk specifically about products because I have another thing, which is TikTok Shop affiliates, which is specifically physical products. For this one, I'm mainly talking about, reselling software, reselling courses, and stuff like that. So when I had my last business, that was doing well, it was connected and integrated with Shopify partners. So I was basically earning affiliate commissions from Shopify as like a bonus on top of what I was making for, what I was selling. And I was able to make, $500 to $1,000 every single month passively with Shopify affiliates. Now, here's two things. I think affiliate marketing is absolutely great if you already have an audience, or if it's just like a bonus side thing. I think it's great. If you're going into it as your main business, I feel like it's just a waste of your time because you're going to have to run ads and you're not going to be very profitable running ads for someone else's business. You're also not in control of the business and how it operates. You have no asset or anything. You are basically just giving someone, you're working on a commission. That's it. You're an employee for that, brand or course seller or whatever that you're offering. So I'm going to put this at D tier, okay? Next up, we have Amazon FBA. Now, to be honest, I barely did any Amazon FBA, and there's a few reasons for this, so there might be some things that I say that are wrong, but this is just how I see it. I'm going to put it at C tier, and here's why. Amazon is a very, very competitive platform, okay? You are basically competing for the lowest price and the lowest margin. Why? Because a lot of, people that sell on Amazon, they're buying in bulk, so you can't drop ship it. You have to have upfront money to buy this item in bulk, and you need to be able to list it at a lower price because, the platform is basically an undercutting platform. The only way I think Amazon could work is if you designed your own product line, launched your own e-commerce brand, and just used Amazon as like a side channel to make more money. Like, you see that with supplement brands. Apple has iPhones on there and stuff like that. Doing that sort of thing, Amazon could work because it could, increase your revenue. But if you're just, ordering AliExpress products in bulk and listing them and hoping they sell, and you're just competing with all the other products on Amazon, I think it's a terrible business model. One, because you don't really have an asset. Yes, you could probably sell an Amazon store, but you don't have, your own e-commerce brand. For the most part, you're not going to have branding and stuff like that. There's even Chinese sellers and factories from China that actually manufacture the product that can get it way cheaper than you could ever get it, and they're selling it on Amazon too. So then you're competing with those people. So that's why it's C tier. Now, one thing I want to say is no matter what I say in here, it's all up to you. Like, there's people making good money in every single one of these. This is just my opinion, okay? Now we have the big one, courses. I'm sure all you guys know who this guy is. I'm going to pack courses and mentorships together in one, okay? If you have a audience already, you have done the business that you want to teach or whatever you want to teach, and you actually can provide value, then yes, courses, mentorship, it's a great way to make a lot of money. As long as you're actually providing value. If you're just going on YouTube, searching dropshipping and watching a guide real quick and claiming that you're an expert and faking it, you're a grimy sleazeball and, you should die. So here's what I'm going to do. If you have a personal brand and an audience and actual value to provide, I'd put it at S tier. But since most of you guys probably don't have that, I'm putting both of these at D tier, okay? Okay, so there's that. Next up, we're going to move on to reselling. So basically, reselling, you go to Goodwill, you go in your closet, you go to, Target and stuff like that. You find things that are super cheap that you can resell on eBay or Marketplace or whatever. I think this is a really, really good way for anyone to get started making money on their own. That's what I did. So most of you guys don't know is I didn't really have any job, like 9-to-5 job when I was starting my businesses. What I would do is first I went in my closet, I sold everything that I didn't use, got money from that. I'd go to Goodwill, garage sales, and I'd list stuff on eBay. And I was making, $1,000 to $2,000 a month doing that. And it was just a great way to get started because, I didn't have to learn softwares. I didn't have to learn, marketing tactics or anything like that. All I had to do was go to Goodwill, go to a garage sale, find an item, search it on eBay, go under the sold listings filter and see if it's sold recently and list it. And I found out that, electronics like PlayStations, iPhones, and stuff like that, they could sell within 24 hours. So I think that's a great way to get started making some money if you don't have a job right now. And it's a great way to, learn and dabble in starting your own business. So for this, I'm going to put this at S tier. Now, the only issue, actually, you know what? I'm going to put it at A tier because the only issue that there is with this is scalability. Like, yes, you could make $1, $2, $3, $4,000 a month with it, but are you going to be able to get to $10,000, $50,000 months and have like a crazy $1 million exit with it? Probably not. Some people might be able to, like if you have your own warehouse and build your own team, but for the most part, it's just going to be a little side hustle for you to make extra money. And, I think that's all it really is. But yeah, so now let's move on to the next one, and that is SaaS. So, me personally, I have never built a SaaS product, but I personally believe if you want to make like crazy amounts of money, SaaS is the number one way to do it. One, you can provide crazy value to a market, make it very, very hard to compete with you. You can do subscription models, so repeat purchases and stuff like that. And overall, it's a very good way to make consistent amounts of money. And software, if you have a bunch of people using the software, you could sell that later for an exit of $1 million, $2 million, whatever it may be. I think software is what's making most of the rich people nowadays. Apart from another thing I'm going to talk about. Like if we look at some of the people in here, like we've got E-Man and Jordan Welch, they made millions of dollars with their software companies. That's primarily where they made their money. Of course, with courses and mentorship too, but software is huge. And if I knew how to code or had the time to develop something, I'd probably be a millionaire right now because of all the crazy ideas that I have for softwares around business. The only problem is the barrier to entry is really difficult because either you know how to code or you got $20, $30, $40,000 sitting around for you to invest in building something. So I would say it's probably not something you would start with, but like let's say you build yourself an e-commerce brand or something like that, found a way to make a good amount of money. I think a SaaS software would be the perfect way to scale into, making hundreds of thousands, $1 million a month. Okay, so I'm putting SaaS at S tier, even though it is more difficult to get into, and most people are not going to be able to do it right away. Now, of course, there's ways to bootstrap SaaS with AI nowadays. So if you can find a way to do that, definitely do that, and I'll get into that in a second. Next thing is social media marketing. So I'm just going to bundle this into any agency. Okay. Here's the thing. You're a glorified freelancer. The only difference between you and being a freelancer is you have your own website, you do your own outreach and marketing or whatever it may be. Yes, there's people that make a lot of money with it, but the more you scale, the more difficult it becomes. When I first got into marketing and online business after, trying reselling and all that, I actually bought the Tai Lopez social media marketing course and started like an agency sort of thing. And yes, I was able to make, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, but it wasn't consistent because, people would drop off, and it's always a challenge of finding your next customer because, your current customer could leave anytime, and you're basically an employee to that customer. They're always breathing down your neck, having you do work and asking you questions and just not letting you do your thing. And it's just, the bigger you get with agency stuff, the bigger the headache because you're dealing with customers and clients and stuff like that. Now, if that's for you, by all means do it. It's definitely a lot harder to get into nowadays because everyone and their mother is a glorified expert marketer. So I'm going to put this at C tier as well. Next up, we're going to do YouTube automation, so faceless YouTube stuff. I never tried this myself, but the way I see it is you can either build a personal brand or a faceless YouTube channel. I see way more potential with a personal brand versus a faceless YouTube channel. Faceless YouTube channels, all you're relying on is, ad revenue. And I mean, yes, if you hit like a niche that's super awesome and people are just hooked to it, you may be able to make some good money, but finding those, it's really saturated now. So to be honest, I'm gonna put this at D tier because I think most people will not be able to make money with it. Although the skills that you develop with video editing and all that good stuff, you know, you that is a bonus, but still there's other ways to do that. Next up, we have TikTok Shop affiliate. So basically what you'd be doing is finding products on TikTok, ordering them and making videos of them and selling them as an affiliate. I think this is miles better than being just a regular affiliate marketer online. Okay? Why? Couple reasons. You're going to make way more money with something like this. Like I see creators all the time, you can see how much revenue they're generating. Some of them are making, $30,000, $40,000 in a couple months, which is great. And you're also developing the skill of learning how to edit videos to get attention. And you're learning that with physical products. Now, why is this valuable? Because you can transfer that to pretty much any business where marketing and ad spend is required, and you're going to have crazy skills to be able to make banger ads if you get really good at this. So I think it's a good way for young kids, people getting started with online stuff to just order a product, pick up the camera, and learn how to edit and make videos that get attention. That's going to help you with any online business you start. Now the problem is you're not going to be making $100,000 a month with this. You also don't have an asset because you don't own the product that you're selling. So for that reason, I'm going to put that at B tier. But the amount of stuff that you would learn is amazing. Next up, we are going for drop shipping. Now, this is going to be interesting for you because I mean, if you've watched my other videos, I basically made most of my money so far with drop shipping. But I'm not going to put it at S tier. I'm going to put it at A tier, and here's why. It's easy to get started, hard to master, okay? Because you need to actually know how to build a brand, how to advertise and do marketing and stuff. That's why I say if you start with TikTok Shop stuff first and then go into dropshipping later, you're going to have way more success. You don't need a lot of money to start up. Like I spent $200 on a credit card with my current brand, and now I'm doing, $4,000 or $5,000 a week in profit. So that's absolutely crazy. But the bottleneck is the fact that you're shipping physical products, okay? Inventory is going to be your main expense and your main overhead. Now, yes, with dropshipping, you don't have to pay for inventory, but dropshipping is used as a way to bootstrap your brand first. Once you start making money is when you should start ordering inventory because it lowers your costs drastically and it allows you to provide better service and experience to your customers so that you can build a way better brand, right? But the problem is you are limited by your inventory at that point. So you're constantly spending your profits on, getting more inventory for the next months so that you can sell more and make more revenue. And overall, when you're doing it that route, it's really hard to manage your expenses. And a lot of people, even though that they're, a lot of brands, even though that they're making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're still negative because they constantly need to reinvest in product. Now, there are ways that you can kind of limit this. Like, for example, if you have started with dropshipping and you have a good connection with an agent and a supplier that can dropship for you, you can always have that as backup. So what you could do is for a month you could order, 5,000 units in bulk or 200 units, however much you think you could sell within 1 to 2 months. Order that in bulk, sell out of that, and when it's gone, use your dropshipping agent as backup to continue fulfilling and shipping out more orders while you're getting more stock in, so that you're not like just ordering inventory, waiting and not selling for 30 or 40 days until the stock comes in, and then you launch again, and then you sell out, and then you can't sell again. I think that's a better way to go about it. But it's still not S tier just because of the physical aspect of it. Next up is digital products. Now I'm going to put this at S tier. Now, I have a little bit of a different thought process for digital products. When I say digital products, I don't mean like selling a PDF form or something like that. When I say digital products, I'm talking about finding a way to offer, some sort of drop servicing thing or some sort of package where you create, automated systems where it seems like a software, but it's actually just back-end systems in place. Let me give you an example. So my last business where I did $80,000 in revenue, um, it was it was a digital product, and what I did was built systems together to give people pre-built stores on Shopify so that they could launch their store, right? And built systems in place where it seemed like it was automated and made by AI and stuff like that. But in reality, I just had team members in the back end that would just transfer things back and forth and get the job done. And that was great because there was no physical product bottleneck. All I had to do was when someone purchased, they would get an email with a link and you sign up for them, and then I'd have one team member import templates into their account, and it was done. We didn't have to worry about physical shipping, which was excellent. The problem is it's very hard to come up with ideas that will work well for this. But if you can come up with an idea for some sort of drop servicing thing or digital product, I think, and that could also be a bootstrapped software that you made with AI. That is considered a digital product. I think it would be way better for you to do that than a physical product, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try drop shipping a physical product either. Okay? So I would say servicing, drop shipping digital products, whatever you want to call it, or building a brand around a digital product, way better than physical products. And finally, last but not least, is building a personal brand, and that's obviously going to be S tier. Why? Because building a personal brand basically guarantees that any sort of business you launch is going to be a success. Why? Because you can test it with your audience first, you can validate that there's a need and demand for what you're selling, and your loyal audience is going to buy whatever you sell. And this is, no matter what people say, this is the only reason people create content, is because they understand the value of attention and having an audience. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with building an audience with the goal of providing value to that audience. What's wrong is these people that are fake gurus and course sellers that just scam their audience. That's what's wrong. But yeah, I think personal brand is the absolute best thing for anyone to do nowadays. That's why there's so many courses coming out right now of how to build your own personal brand and stuff like that, just because the value in it is astronomical, okay? And that's why I'm documenting my stuff, because maybe someday in the future, maybe I want to launch a software to you guys that will actually provide value and help you guys out. Or, who knows? I have no plans really yet, but just having an audience in place sets you up to, test things in the future and add value to, your audience without any investing. Like, you don't have to do paid advertising. You don't need to get, angel investors to help you develop a software or whatever it may be. You just actually provide real value to your audience, and, you're set. So this is the ranking that I have here. I think this is a pretty solid ranking. Of course, this was a lot of information. I understand that. But I hope this kind of helps you understand each business model, the good, the bad, the ugly of each one, and maybe help you understand which one you should try, and which ones you should stay away from. At the end of the day, I think you should probably just test what you're interested in and just be careful of gurus, because they're going to sell you the world, and for the most part, it's not realistic or real for any of these business models, okay? No matter what they say. Just test it, learn yourself, and figure things out on yourself, and just kind of use this as a guideline, so you have realistic expectations. Okay? So, I'll see you guys in the next one.